Hello. Welcome. Day 1 for clearing the fear. Clear the fear from your life. I'm really excited to start today, and I am going to wait just a moment or two to make sure everyone can see this and gets popped on here. I'm going to tag some people, and I promise we will get started soon. Yes. Sorry, I'm using my computer and using my phone. Oh, here I am. Okay, I want to be able to tag people. I guess I can't. Okay. Let's see. Debbie. And who else? Sandra. And Ashley. There she is. Okay. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day already. Just about an hour ago, I was out on a walk. I was walking snow, kind of a twofer, right? I get some exercise and get to make my dog happy. And while I'm walking or running or hiking, I always like to use that time to be inspired, right? Like I usually listen to worship music, and just enjoy it. And it always inspires me. Like I feel really connected to God. But sometimes I listen to things, like I was listening to one of my mentors, one of her challenges that she has going on. Well, actually just finished, but I was watching her replay. And this came into my mind, and I said, I'm sharing this today in day 1. And maybe you guys will even write it down, carry it with you. It's very simple, but it just came into my head as I was listening to her. And that message is this: the only way to do it is to do it, right? And you might be like, what? And I'm talking about everything. So anything that you want to do, no matter what, anything that you're like hoping becomes in your life, the best way to do it, to get there, is to do it. And so it kind of goes really well with this Clear the Fear 5-day challenge. Today, we're going to be talking about witnessing our fears, how to do that, and why we should do it. But I wanted to talk about how transformational clearing the fear from your life can be, before we even get started, because maybe some of you will tune in that didn't register and you don't even what is this about, right? So whether you are watching live or the replay, when you pop on, can you say hello, so that I know that you're here? It'll just make me happy. And the more engaged you want to be, the better. It'll make it much more exciting than me just talking to you. So, I just mentioned to you that clearing the fear from your life can be so powerful in your transformation. If you're looking for a transformation, if you're looking from going to where you are now to something better, meaning receiving more good, right, in your life, and here's the thing, the good in your life is there, but you just may not be tuned into it. And so clearing the fear is going to make a way for that to happen. That's one of the things. So I wanted to share a little bit about why I am so passionate about fear, and ridding it from your life, and what it's done for me. And so when I realized what fear was, and that it didn't need to be a part of my life, that had the power to heal relationships. That had the power to open me up to this whole new career. I am a stay-at-home mom, but I also am a full-time mindset coach from my home. And what I focus my life on is helping people step into the life that they were always meant to live. So not a different life, right? Not a, oh, I've been living wrong, I'm gonna, shame. Okay, it's not about that. It's about, you have this perfect purpose, this perfect plan for your life, and you may believe that, but you're not seeing it, right? And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like it's perfect. And so, you just kind of struggle through day to day. And the reason why I help people move through that is because that's where I was. That's how I lived. I would say, I would describe it as existing and not very happily. Sure, of course I had happy times, happy moments, but it wasn't the same as right now. So now my focus is staying in alignment with the plans that God has for me. And that is where I experience, more joy, more purpose, more peace, more patience, more confidence, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, truth time. I'm an extrovert. I am. I have been. So it might be like, oh, it's not a big deal for you to come on here and do this. But actually, it's gotten easier with time. Before, and sometimes, if I'm not on this page, because on here I feel like everybody knows what I'm doing and who I am, so it doesn't really make me nervous. But if I go live on my personal page or some other type of platform, I do still get a little bit nervous. Because just like all of you, I have those normal fears of rejection, fears of being unworthy. And those fears really cripple your life. Those two specifically. But what I have found is that all fears, I have a fear of this, I have a fear of that, I have a fear, they all boil down to probably two main root fears. And that is also the type of work that I do, is peeling the layers and let's go a little bit deeper. Where do you think that actually comes from? And I'm trying to think of who else was supposed to be on here, because I don't see anybody. And I'm a little shocked because I know everybody was excited. So I just would love the interaction, because then I know, okay, you're with me, you got it. All right, well, I'm just gonna have to keep going. See, and things like this too, I could be oh, forget it, I'm gonna sign off or whatever, I could do that. Ooh, someone's here. Ooh, yay, Lana. Oh my goodness, yay. So I was just saying, I've been talking for 11 minutes. I'm where is everybody? So I'm glad you're here. At least I have one person to talk to. So I would highly recommend that when I'm done, watch the other part, because it's important. They're on the replay when I post it. But You guys, clearing the fear has the power to transform your life, because fear is what blocks the good. It blocks movement, it hinders movement. It causes you to remain stagnant. And I mean, the way that we are so overpowered by fear these days, and we don't even realize it. It's not like we're like, oh, I'm afraid, right? We're so overpowered by fear. We're so run by fear that we don't even recognize it. We just think that that's normal. That's just who we are and all that stuff. And part of this challenge is I'm going to challenge you to go deeper and maybe cast off some of those lies that are not true. There was something really big that I was going to share, and now I have distracted myself from it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So when you registered, if you read my little message afterward, you saw that I said fear and perfectionism are best friends. It is so true. Because the reason why we operate in perfectionism mode is because we are afraid of being hurt. It's because we're afraid of being found out, like, oh, I'm really not as good as this person might think I am, and I don't want to mess up their perception of me because that might really hurt, right? So it's all an escape from pain. And so fear and perfectionism work together. Perfectionism is the action, the action of fear. It's the response to fear. And so that's why they go so well together. And so the first thing that we're going to do today in Clearing the Fear Challenge, your first assignment, if you will, is witnessing your fears. So now some of you might right away already know, like maybe it depends on where you are in your journey, but like some of you may have no idea, like I don't know, other people might totally know what their fear is and they're trying to get past it, but just can't seem to muster up the courage, right? Like they may okay, like that kind of a movement. So Lana, you're the only one here, so I guess I have to put you on the spot. Well, you don't have to answer, but like which category do you feel you fall in? Do you feel like you are like you don't really know what all your fears are, or you have a good idea of what at least most of your fears are and you're working on moving through them, or maybe you've gotten stuck in working through them? So let me know. This is my I Love Cadence mug. And I always, I got this before Cadence was born. My dad gave it to me. And I always, like, if people see it, I'm always like, don't worry, I have an Abby mug too. But yeah, I love both of them. But this was made when Cadence was first born. Isn't it cute? Okay, so while I am waiting to, I think I know them. I'm just trying to work through them now. Good. Okay, would you mind sharing like one of them? One that's not, one that you feel comfortable sharing, and then we can kind of go through the steps right here, and it'll be an example. And if not, I will choose one of mine, but I think it's more fun if we don't make it all about me, because you guys hear about me all the time. So is there one that you'd like to share that we can kind of address? And yeah, let me know. And hopefully, yay, Bonnie, now you're here. Okay, so Bonnie, there's been about like 15 minutes of worth of stuff that we've gone over, so I would highly recommend watching the replay when this is over. But while you're here, what I just asked was, do you know some of your biggest fears that maybe are holding you back in life, like just, it can be anything. Are you aware of them? And if so, would you mind sharing one that you're comfortable with and we can work through it? Or are you at a place where you're like, I don't know what my fears are. I don't know what they are. And then if that's where you're at, then let me know. I have issues with my kid's dad. One of my fears is that my daughter will go live with him. Okay. So, fearing that your daughter's going to go live with her dad. And so witnessing this fear, this is how we start. This is day one, right? So witnessing it is one, just like you said, you're putting it up there, right? You're speaking it out. Okay, I am afraid of my daughter going to live with her dad. Boom. That's the fear. So then we kind of expand on that. And we ask, okay, why am I afraid of that? If my daughter goes with them, she will end up dead. See? There you go. See? Now that's perfect. That's exactly the next step. So now you're telling yourself and me why you're afraid of that. And basically you're afraid for her well-being. And you even have details on that, right? So as a mom, that is a very normal and actually to some degree a healthy fear, right? Like you have protection mode. We're supposed to protect our children from harm, right? So in that one, that is very hard because it involves another person in your life and it's not a fear about you. And so for the sake of this, I'm trying to think of how we can move through your fear of letting her go when it is about another person and not necessarily what's going to happen to you, because it's different, right? So for me, I'll just share with you what I do when I feel fearful with my kids, when I fear for their safety. And see, my situation is a little different than yours, obviously, because my fears with my kids are just like, please, I hope nothing happens to them at school, or even when they're asleep. I'm like, I hope nothing horrible happens while they're sleeping, just because I'm not with them and I don't know because I'm asleep, that kind of fear. But for me, what helps the most is prayer and affirmations. And so, like I said, in your case, this is going to be a little bit different, because like for me and my kids, it is mainly like, oh my gosh, I don't want anything to happen to them because it would rip my heart out, right? Like it would just rip my heart out. But the threat for them isn't as strong as what you're saying, right? Because you have a strong fear that like, if she went to live with her dad, horrible things would happen to her. So I would say, as I'm talking through this with you, that probably the most helpful thing would be pray that this is not the case, that she will not be living with her dad, and that you strongly believe that she will not be taken from you because you are her, you have her best interests at heart, and God knows that she's going to be safer with you than with him, and so that way you can get some peace of mind and confidence and be like, oh, well, that's okay. She's not going to live with him. She's going to stay with me, and like, know that assuredly. And like I said, in your prayer, you can even create affirmations around that, like, my daughter is safe because my daughter is with me. My daughter will be with me because God knows this is the best place for her. Things like that, where you're affirming the truth and not even going into the fears. And that you can, hey, Kayla, and that you can cast that out, like cast that fear out when it comes in, because you're just like, no, like, I'm not going to even think about it because I know she's going to be with me. If that makes sense. Hey, does that make sense, Lana? I mean, is that helpful at all? I know, like I said, this case is kind of a little bit different because it involves somebody else. But Kayla, since you're here, are you willing to share? Okay, good. Yay, I'm so glad, Lana. I'm so glad. Good. Kayla, will you share a fear that you're comfortable sharing? Maybe one that's not super intense, but like definitely still something that hinders your progress or holds you back from something. Like, well, I'm afraid of, like for me, let's see, while you're thinking, let me see if I can share one of mine. Okay, so I'm so glad it makes sense, Lana. Like, it makes me so happy because I was like, oh gosh, I hope she's not gonna be like, what? See, now even that right there, for me, that's a fear. Like, is so-and-so gonna like what I have to say? Or they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like, you're full of it. I'm never talking to you again. Those are the kind of fears I have with people. And it does affect the work I do, which is why I'm constantly holding that fear captive, taking it captive and saying, no, that you don't serve me. This is the truth. This is what I want to believe. Okay, big Crosby built. This is good. We're going to get to this, Lana. I will address it. So, Kayla, you got something? One of my fears is that the people that I love will leave me. That's one of my fears. And it flows into everything. So, family members, friends, like, I have to actively work through things sometimes. Like, maybe a conversation seems to go weird, or there's like, oh my gosh, did they take that the wrong way? And I start feeling insecure, like, oh my gosh, they're not gonna be my friend anymore. Oh my gosh. And Kayla, you've probably even witnessed me being like this, not in a while, but like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I took so long to get back to you. I was doing this and and I try to and you're like, oh my gosh, it's totally fine, right? That's like a habit that I have, but that I'm also very mindful of, like, Vanessa, you're feeling afraid right now. And you know what? Let's look at this here. They're probably didn't even think anything of it. You're thinking way too much about it. Yeah, I'm also afraid that one day my husband will not love me anymore. Yeah, that's a huge one. I've had that one. Oops, sorry. I've had that one many times too. And both of those, so everything that I just said and what you said, Kayla, the love, like, that my husband's not going to love me anymore, that my friends aren't going to love me anymore, that they're going to leave me, that my family's not going to love me anymore. You guys, guess what? So what I boiled this down to, peeled the layers, right? I always think of an onion and Shrek and the donkey and all that stuff. Even though I didn't even love those movies, but I still remember that. Here, let me help clear a fear for you right now, okay? We're witnessing our fear of not being loved, and because, like, people aren't going to love us anymore, and they're going to leave us because they don't love us anymore, right? So they're pretty tied together. That's actually deep down self-doubt of your worthiness. So no matter what you think on the surface, or like, hey, I'm doing good, or wow, I'm doing amazing things, like, you can say those things and you can experience that good feeling, but way, 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 way down, there's something inside of you that believes. I actually just posted on this today. I think I did. There's something deep down that believes that you're just not good enough. You're just not worthy of love. And it's a sad fear. It's a sad fear when I realize that I still have that fear after, 4 years of working through all of this stuff. And you guys see the layers have been cleansed. So like, okay, picture this. Here's the onion, right? So like in the center of the onion, it gets really small, right? You cut into it and it has that small piece, and then the rings go out, right? You know what I'm talking about. Or like a tree, the rings in a tree. So way deep down in that small part, that fear that we are unworthy and unlovable because we're unworthy is still there, okay? But we don't need to be sad, because in the layers around it, right, we're clearing it. So we start from the outside, right? So we start here, and then we clear that, and we say, oh, no. Like, I am living in my purpose. I am doing amazing things. Whew. Layer, gone. I'm living in my purpose. I'm doing amazing things. Whew. Here's what I'm doing. Right? And you have all this proof, right? And so the good news is even though that fear is still there, it's really deep down and it's really small. And it's usually only triggered, for me, I'm speaking now, it's usually only triggered if I get too tired, like I've done too much and I haven't given myself adequate rest, which actually I've been doing really good on that. Or it happens when stupid hormones. I'm sorry, but they are a real thing, and they totally mess with me. And I've done this is what I say. I've done everything in my power to clear that fear that I am unworthy and unlovable on all the layers. But down in that core, it's still there, and it bugs me that it's still there. But this is where we get to switch it to a positive, right? And so instead of being bummed out about it, because that's usually what happens to me. I'm like, oh, you still are afraid that you're not worthy? That is ridiculous. Like, you've already proven 1,000,000 times, And I'm sorry, I didn't even say this, but my core truth around that is because I am worthy, I am loved, because I've already been made righteous, I've already been cleansed, I've already been made perfect in the sight of God. And if I'm perfect in the sight of God, then what the heck am I freaking out about, right? So yes, on this earth, I will still have to battle those things here and there. I can make it less, which is way less. I don't walk around like this, I have those days or those moments, and I just cling to my truth. And I'm like, this is a lie. This is a lie, and I'm not going to believe it. And even though it's making me feel a little bit sad, it's not true. And it will pass. Tomorrow is a brand new day, and I will feel better. And what I attribute that to, honestly, and I'm still investigating. And part of what I wrote today, I think it was on Instagram, or I might have done it in here too. Part of what I wrote today was that I'm still investigating why it is that we feel so unworthy deep down, and how that unworthiness permeates through the layers, right? And so if it's on that outer layer, or like even 3 or 4 layers in, it's going to drastically affect the way we live our lives. Can you guys agree with that? Does that make sense? If that fear, if that belief, that false belief is out on like even up to the 3rd or 4th layer, it's going to drastically affect our lives in a negative way. So if we can clear layer 1 and clear layer 2 and clear layer 3 and clear layer 4, right? Our day to day is going to be much better. It's going to be much more positive, much more free, right? Like that freedom that we've been seeking, for our whole life probably. So please let me know if that makes sense before I give you guys the assignment again. Like, let me know that that makes sense and that I didn't just say something like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure you're tracking with me because you girls are like on the level with me. So I'm pretty sure you get it, but I just want to know. And I'm going to sip my coffee while you answer. It totally needs to be heated up. This is not the good temperature. Sad times. No one's saying anything. Let's see. Refresh. Maybe you aren't. It's just not showing me. It's very possible. Oh, there we go. I think both of my fears I listed have the same core. Exactly. And that's what I was saying. Like that I'm going to be left or that they're going to stop loving me. They do have the same core. Oh, Debbie, you are on. You are playing it, I think. Anyway, it's okay. You can watch it when you come back. Kayla, yeah, it totally is the same core. It is. It's the unworthiness. Like, we're not worthy enough to be loved. Like, of course they're going to leave us. Of course they're going to stop loving us because they're going to figure it out that, like, we're not worthy of being loved. So it all boils down to that core. So now to wrap this up because, okay, good, Lana. Just so you can clearly have your challenge for today, there's 2 things I want you to remember. One, I said at the very beginning, and I don't think anyone was here, so I'm going to say it again. This came to me today while I was out walking, and it's this statement. The best way to do it is to do it. And the reason why I'm saying that, see, you're here, Debbie. The best reason for that is that, like, even in what we're doing in this challenge, so like you're signed up in this challenge for a reason, right? You want to clear the fear in your life. You're like, oh, actually what you wrote down, that sounds amazing. I do want more joy in my life. I do want more like peace and calm and satisfaction and purpose and all that sounds great. And so you're here. And so the best way to do it is to do it. So that I'm saying that to you because if you want to see the improvement, if you want to peel the layers, then do your best to participate every day in the challenge and do what is given, because only then will you actually see if it's working for you. But if you just hear it and you don't do it, then it's not going to do anything for sure. So the challenge today, because we're witnessing our fear, is to, hey Dana, we're almost done here. I'm just giving the challenge, and then you guys can watch the replay when I sign off. I will repost. The challenge is to witness your fears. So here's my favorite thing. Set your timer for 5 or 10 minutes, okay? Whichever, if you want to do 10, I think 10 would be better. But even if you have 5 minutes, you're practicing being mindful. And I just want you to sit and think. And I'm going to do it too. I just did it this weekend, but I'm going to do it again. And then I'll share some of my, scary. But just write them down and just observe them. Do not judge yourself. So remove judgment from your fears and just get them out. So get them on a piece of paper, or maybe you want to record yourself. Like use your audio app or your notes app or something on your phone and just like get it out that way and say, this is what I'm afraid of. And you might find that when you do that, when you allow yourself to speak it out, you might do like what you did earlier, Lana, like, oh, well, I'm afraid of that because I'm afraid of this, and I'm afraid of that because of this. So you might even get there where you're going down the layers and like, what's the core fear of this? Why am I afraid of that? But the assignment is just to get your fears out on paper, and don't cast any judgment on yourself. It's not about that. You're just observing. You're the observer. Oh, those are my fears. Okay. And like I said, if you want to ask yourself why on each of them, you can. And tomorrow, obviously, we're going to work through it more. But tomorrow is going to be rewriting your story. It's okay, Debbie. I feel like you are here because you're able to post, but it will be done soon, and I will press the replay button and you can watch the whole thing. So tomorrow is rewriting your story. So we're going to take those fears and we're going to rewrite them in truth. So we're going to cast them off, we're going to peel the layer, and we're going to fortify that fear with truth. And one more thing, something I've always loved ever since I heard it, is remember fear as an acronym. False evidence appearing real. Because when you know it's false, you don't have to let it take any charge in your life, right? Like if you know something's not true, you don't let it affect you. Like, Santa Claus isn't real, right? Like if I know Santa Claus is not really real, I'm not going to spend time writing him a list. I'm not going to spend time trying to get my call through to the North Pole, right? Like, I'm being silly here, but those things take time out of your day, right? And once you know, oh, that's not even true, why am I spending time on it? You're going to get more time in your life, right? You're going to be able to refocus your time on the things that do serve you, that are true, and that are in line with your purpose. So I've gone a little bit over, just a little bit. And I hope that this serves you well. I cannot wait to see your fears. And you know what? If you don't want to like list your fears out in the comments of this, by the way, is how you're participating, okay? And there will be a prize. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure I'll think of something good. You can just say, assignment done, or, like assignment done, I had 6 fears or something like that, just so that I know that you took the time to do the work. And yeah, so I hope you guys have a super awesome day. I am excited to see you tomorrow. It'll be at the same time, which is 10 a.m. So hopefully I'll be able to see more of you. Well, I don't know what time zone you're in, but at that time it starts, just so that you can be live with me and interact with me. And yeah, take care. Bye.